Hi, this is Katie Jarvis with Managing the Mess. I'm a Title I art teacher in Northern Virginia. In this video, we're going to be chatting a little bit about some behavior management things that I've tried that haven't worked and some things that I'm trying out now that I'm having some success with. I think the sign of a good teacher is someone that's continually trying to improve their teaching, trying to reach their students, and adapting to what their students need. Now we're to the good part. What has worked? Well, I've found that the classes that I'm anxious about, that I'm nervous about, how is this going to go this week? Because it's a challenging class. If I over-prepare, if I'm extremely organized for those classes, things run smoother. So I'm not pouring paint during those classes. I'm not running into the closet for a second trying to cut some paper. Those things are already ready, and I can use all of my attention to focus on students. The power of positive thinking is real. Whatever you need to tell yourself, this is going to be a good day. For some reason, that works. And then I carry that over when my students come in. I tell them, we're having a good day today. You're going to help us earn that golden paintbrush. I see someone misbehaving. We're not doing that today. And sometimes they just realize that you're not going to take that. You're not going to accept less than your high expectations. And things improve just by that positive thinking and that positive language of, we're going to get this right. We're going to work together. Along those lines, expect cooperation. Set your standards high no matter what class is coming into your classroom. Make sure that you, no matter how frazzled and stressed out you are polite and kind. When it comes down to it, there are going to be situations where you do need to get more firm and you do need to raise your voice, and you want students in those moments to take you seriously. I can remember a third grade class that I had last year, and we got near to the end of the year and someone needed to leave the classroom to use the bathroom, and there was testing going on. So I had reminded them they needed to go silently into the hallway and come right back to the art room, and they promised they were going to do this. And I saw them coming back a few minutes later, running and giggling through the hallway. So I brought them into my classroom, and I very sternly corrected them and reminded them of the promise that they had made when they left the room and the trust that they had broken. And the voice that I was using was much more serious than my students had seen before. And I heard kids saying, I've never heard her yell before. And then I knew I was doing something right, because in that moment, those students were taking me seriously. Everyone was stopping to listen, because this is not something I would do all of the time. If you're constantly yelling and screaming, students learn to tune you out. They realize you don't really want them to be there by the attitude that you're portraying. So try to be positive, try to be polite and kind, and you'll see that come back from your students. It might happen slowly. It might just be one student at a time. And some of our students, it takes them a while to trust you, especially if you're at a new school. I wouldn't say the word hazing, but I didn't have it easy my first year. The upper grades, there were definitely students that tested things out with me. But by the end of the year, they're saying things to me like, so are you coming back next year? And that's when I knew that they really cared. But they definitely wanted to find out, wasn't I an adult that was going to stick around and support them and care about them and support the school's mission? We're very lucky that we're art teachers and we already teach something that's really fun. So make your class the reward. Make your lessons exciting and engaging, and you don't need a sticker to encourage a student to want to enjoy that. Create an environment where students are willing to be cooperative and work quietly. And one thing that I found that works, and it's really super easy, is I will incentivize certain supplies. Maybe when I'm describing a sixth grade project where they're designing their names, I'll mention that classes that do a really good job of listening, I will trust them to use the metallic Sharpies on the step that we're doing that week. And so that incentivizes them to work together and get that special material. Now, I was going to have them use that anyways. It's not something special I went out and bought with my own money, but it gives them a feeling of, hey, we've achieved something, we get something a little bit extra special, but there's zero effort for me. I would do this in the younger grades when we're doing crayons, mentioning that I have a special box of crayons. This one has my glitter and my sparkle crayons in it, and that classes that are very good listeners, they get to use those special materials, but I only trust the classes that are well behaved to use those materials. So it's something a little bit extra and additional. It could be a little trick to have in your toolbox that may work for you. A big thing that's been helping me is to slow down. It's definitely something I'm still working on, but instead of just quickly trying to fix a student's problem without really listening, I'm starting to ask questions more. I'm starting to ask, how can I help? And it's amazing the response that you'll get from kids. I also ask students, how are you feeling? Not just assuming, oh, you're feeling sad because you spilt the water. Just go and clean it up and get back to work. Without kind of like rushing them through processing, how you could help or what they need to do next and just listing out the steps, but really stopping to ask them what it is that they need or what help you can give them helps them to feel more cared for. I'll ask them what could we do to help make you feel better. And I saw a gem this week when I was watching in another classroom. We were seated in a circle and a student was getting a little bit distracted and wasn't doing their very best listening. And instead of just correcting them and then moving on, which is I think what I would have done, they stopped and said to the person, what is distracting you? And that way as a teacher, you could help fix that. I think I'm often as an art teacher, just looking at the clock, worried about, okay, we've got 60 minutes. This introduction takes 12 minutes. And I'm not stopping sometimes to fix what is going on. I'm trying to put a quick Band-Aid on it and move on. But asking those questions and taking the time to find out what a student needs to feel cared for helps put some deposits in that bank account and helps for that student not only to have a better day that week, but have better days for the weeks to come. I have a little take a break spot in my classroom that has worked well for students. They can either choose to take a break if they're feeling overwhelmed or upset, or I can suggest that they take a break if they need to reset. What a student does when they go back there is they go back and they get this calming kit. Now, this is provided by my school. I made my own because at the beginning of the school year, this wasn't provided for specialists, but just this week, we were added in and we got a kit as well. One of the things that I didn't have in my kit that I thought was great was directions. So there are directions for the students that are laminated, and there's also some coloring pictures in that clipboard so they know what to do. And the first direction that they listed was that the student would set the timer. The student would then go through the bin and decide which little fidget they would like to use. And they take some breaths and they take a little bit of time to calm down. When the timer goes off, they can choose if they want to rejoin the group or if they want to stay at that spot. In art, often a lot of the students will want to continue working on their artwork. They're not interested in taking a break. They want to move forward with the project. So if it's something that can easily be done at a lap desk, sometimes I provide that option. If they've served their time out, and they would still like to be separated from the group, but they want to continue with painting or something messy, I'll often get creative and have them work at a countertop nearby instead of moving back to their seat if they're just not ready for it. So be creative with your solutions and be open to letting your students take a break if they need it. Remember that you are teaching kids. They make mistakes, they are learning every day. So give them a chance. Don't just be yelling, don't do this, don't do that. You can say, show me. When you see them doing something wrong, show me how we hold the scissors. Give them a chance to do it right and to get that acknowledgement that they are doing a good job. You can offer them opportunities to try again. Try again to walk to your seat. You can even say next time. So situations where you don't want students to repeat what happened, but you want to say next time that we paint, please don't mix the colors together because we can see that it made brown. But be forgiving, be understanding, and give your students those opportunities with the language that you use to let them know that you see that they're learning and they're growing, and give them some opportunities to make things right. No doubt being an art teacher can be really challenging. One of the things that I recommend that everyone does is document student behavior. So I keep my seating charts taped to the front of a folder, but inside of it, I have a documentation log. So this is where I'd be documenting things that happen in my classroom. And it helps me so that I'm not worrying about them. I know that they're recorded here, can remember when things happen. And when I'm seeing a pattern of misbehavior, or I'm realizing that I'm just not connecting with a student week after week, there are struggles, that's when you need to reach out to another classroom teacher, to an art teacher from another school, to art teachers on a Facebook group. You can reach out to your school counselors, to your administrators, to your students' parents, and ask them for suggestions of things that you can try with your students and ways that you can better support those kids. The one time when I do use little prizes is on our ketchup and pickle day. This is an incentive that I do at the end of the quarter, and it's a messy day. If you'd like to learn more about what I do with that, I talk about it in my 10 more time-saving tips video, so you can watch that video next. But there is lots of materials out on that day, so I choose mystery cleaners. Before we clean up, I'll notice a few things in the room that don't look right. Maybe I notice a pair of scissors that have been left behind at the green table, or some trash that's under the red table. And I'll give my cleanup directions, and then I'll watch. Just sit back and watch. And whoever finds those mystery items and cleans them up, I do give them a prize. I tell the students this is really all about luck, because the more things they clean up, the more chance they have of winning. It's not something that I would do every week. I like to do it on the ketchup and pickle day only because it's a really messy time. And this way my room is extra clean. And on that ketchup and pickle week, I can use my planning time for how I choose. I'm not having to clean up any leftover messes or things after the students leave. I do think if you did this every single class, it would lose its charm, and you would also be funding a lot of prizes, which really isn't the best use of your money. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like and subscribe. I make videos just like this one every single week. I help make your job easier, help you improve your classroom management, and help you feel less alone in this crazy career.